So Colby Covington, Robbie Lawler happened. It was a great fight. It was really a fun fight. Colby just kept that pressure as he always does with everybody. Kept that jab. I think a lot of people were really surprised at Colby's boxing. It was really impressive. You know, he has very good boxing mixed with that really elite wrestling style. That's tough to deal with. Robbie Lawler had problems. You saw he just kept having to roll with the punches because there was always something there, always something there, always something there. Then the threat of the takedown, that's tough to deal with. That was a lot for Robbie to deal with. I would say 85% of the fight he was just being defensive, and that's exhausting, especially in defending all that wrestling. Colby's very comfortable in the wrestling, so I doubt he was exerting too much energy there. But Robbie, you saw a lot of big strength movements, trying to stay on his feet. He just kept trying to go forward through all those punches Colby was throwing. Like, he's legit as fuck. There's no other way to say it. After that, if you don't think Colby Covington is legit as fuck, you're confused. Really, just honestly confused. So Colby goes out there, just puts a crazy pace on Robbie Lawler and dominates him in a way I don't think too many people were expecting. It was just a great performance, and I can't remember the last time I've seen Robbie Lawler just dominated like that. He just couldn't find an opening to really let his hands go even, because Colby was just he always had to worry about something. Colby always throwing that jab, always coming through, always the uppercuts, you saw those, even spinning elbows out of the clinch. It was just Colby's a diverse striker and one of the best wrestlers in the UFC, and that's going to be tough to deal with for anybody. So I guess Colby Covington solidified himself as one of the top welterweights in the world, if not the top welterweight in the world. There's an argument. And then he also solidified himself as the biggest villain in all of MMA, maybe all of MMA history. You saw him walk out with the Kurt Angle music. The crowd was chanting, "You suck." He did that on purpose. He wants you to hate him, because love him or hate him, guess what? You're gonna have an opinion about him. You're gonna love him or you're gonna hate him, and guess what? You're gonna buy the fight because of that. You're gonna care about the person. You either want to see him win or you want to see him lose. That's what makes people buy the fight. And it'll even draw casual fans in too, because if they hate the guy, they want to see him lose. So casuals are gonna buy and say, "Oh, this is the guy that's gonna mess him up, and I hate this guy." People want to see that. So you saw him just being over the top, talking all that shit to Kamaru Usman in their little interview. That's going viral already. That's gonna draw a lot of eyes to Colby and Usman, which I'll get into very shortly. You saw the post-fight interview in the octagon. He said some things that were a little tough for a lot of people to hear. That's gonna make him an even bigger villain. That's what he wants. He wants you to hate him. He wants to be the biggest villain in MMA. Very Chael Sonnen like. Even the way he fights, he's like a more technical Chael Sonnen to me. Like, he knows how to be the bad guy, just like Chael. He knows how to wrestle, very elite, maybe even better than Chael. I'd say his boxing's better than Chael, his pace is better than Chael, but they're very similar. They're both that southpaw boxing, wrestling style. I would say Colby does it even better, and Colby is just very over the top in promoting himself and everything, so he knows how to sell a fucking fight. He's gonna get under your skin, he's gonna talk a lot of shit, he's gonna force a reaction out of the public, and that's important. Don't just be a guy that's like, "Oh yeah, oh, I'm just here to fight, all I care about is the fight. I don't care what he says, all I care about is what." Don't be that guy. You gotta be the guy that forces a reaction, because nobody gives a fuck about the guy who's just all about the fight. I mean, we do, but we only give a fuck about him for the 15 minutes he's in the cage. Like I've said before, if you only give a fuck about the 15 minutes you're in the cage, don't be mad at me when I only give a fuck about you for the 15 minutes you're in the cage. And that's just the way it is. You know, Colby Covington forces you to care about the storylines, his whole build up, everything. So going on from that, Colby Covington established himself one of the best welterweights in the world, established himself as the biggest villain in MMA history, which is gonna sell. Obviously, that's gonna sell big numbers. Um, so where we go from here is just what's the future of the welterweight division? At the top, it's really a mess right now, but it's exciting. It's an exciting mess. Don't get it confused. I would say there's a three-horse race and then there's a wild card. So it's Usman, Colby, Masvidal, and the wild card is Leon Edwards. I think that can be agreeable with everybody. Everybody would agree with that. Um, so let's just get right to it. Usman versus Colby, that's the fight to make. Like let's not bullshit about it. There's no other fight to make. It just doesn't make sense. You know, we've been waiting too long for Usman versus Colby. There's a little heat back and forth. Well, there's a lot of heat back and forth between the two, as you saw yesterday in the post-fight interview. It's time. We've waited long enough. These two they are both on big winning streaks. They're both in their primes, I would say. It's just the fight to make. You know, Colby's the interim champion, I would say. I don't know why they stripped him of that. He never lost that. Uh, Usman is the champion. It's just the fight to make. Unify the belts. That's the fucking fight to make. It's gonna sell big numbers because these two are gonna have a big, crazy back and forth promotion. It's gonna be heated. It might even be uncomfortable at times. You know, sort of like the Khabib McGregor buildup was. It might be uncomfortable at times, but guess what? Uncomfortable sells. You know, forcing people to have a reaction, good or bad, doesn't fucking matter. That's gonna sell. You know, the people want to see that kind of shit, and that's just the fight to make. There's no bullshit about it. It's just the fight to make. Let's just stop fucking around. Usman, Colby Covington. Those are the two guys. Those are the two at the top right now. You can't disagree with it at all. That's the fucking fight. And then there's Masvidal. So Masvidal's on a 2-fight win streak. He's 2-2 in his last fights, but he's had the two most impressive victories of the year, I would say, in the welterweight division. I can't think of anybody who's had two more highlight reel finishes. So that's where the Masvidal thing comes out. But he's 2-2 in his last 4 fights. So Colby and Usman, those guys are on big winning streaks. Those are the two that deserve the big title fight right now. But I can understand the Masvidal thing where he just wants to fight for the title right now because he's hotter than he's ever been right now, and that's a fact. So Masvidal, what I see for him is, if I'm him, my name is so hot right now, there's no reason to do anything except for the title fight or the Conor McGregor fight. You need to cash out right now if you're Masvidal. So what I see Masvidal doing, there's no reason to take the Leon Edwards fight. He has nothing to gain in that, really. At this point, he has nothing to gain in that at all. So what I see him doing is he's gonna wait on the sidelines. Unless they offer him the Conor McGregor fight, he'll take that in an instant. But otherwise, he's gonna wait on the sidelines. He's going to be the replacement for the Colby versus Usman fight. If one of those guys pull out, Masvidal is going to be there, ready to step in and fight for the belt, I would say. So that's what I see him doing. Unless they offer him the Conor fight, that's how it's going to go for him. There's no reason for him to take the Leon Edwards fight. It just doesn't make sense. Masvidal needs to cash out while his name is hot right now, because his name's never going to be any hotter than it is right now. He's probably had the best year of 2019 in terms of producing highlights as a UFC fighter, as an MMA fighter in general. So yeah, he needs to wait. He needs to wait, see if he can somehow jump into the Usman and Colby equation as a replacement if one of those guys have to pull out, which is possible. This is UFC, this is MMA, this is crazy. People get injuries. It's just a fact. So he needs to just wait on the sideline. Unless they offer him the Conor fight, there's no reason for him to take anything else. And yeah, that's the Masvidal situation from my point of view. And then there's Leon Edwards. So Leon Edwards is going to be in a tough spot. So he's kind of like, he's deserving because he's on an 8-fight win streak, but he's the odd man out in this equation to me. That's, you can maybe change my mind, but no, he's the odd man out. I would say that's consensus. That's how the public looks at him. So I think he needs one more fight before he's like way at the top, because he's at the top right now, but before everybody's like, oh, this guy needs the title shot right now, he needs one more fight to me against a legit guy. So, or maybe not even a legit guy. Like, I'm saying it doesn't need to be Masvidal, is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't need to be Masvidal. I would maybe even like to see him against Woodley. But also Ariel Helwani said something very interesting to me. That he wanted to the UFC to book like a Birmingham shows surrounded around Leon Edwards, sort of like the UFC did with Darren Till and UFC Liverpool. You know, they brought Darren Till back to Liverpool. He got to see the love from the home crowd. They chanted that Sweet Caroline, and it just really it built up Darren Till's star power around the world, because everybody was like, oh, this guy's really loved in Liverpool. He's a superstar. So yeah, that's what I think. That's a possibility for Leon Edwards, definitely. So yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Leon Edwards, go home, fight somebody maybe Ponzinibbio, maybe Stephen Thompson, maybe the winner of the winner of Pettis and Nate Diaz. Who knows? Let's have some fun there. And then there's the Tyron Woodley. There's a lot of options for Leon Edwards, but to me, he needs one more win against maybe one of those names that I just mentioned before he's at the very top, and it's undeniable that he needs a title shot. And I would love to see him go back home and get that hero's welcome, so everybody around the world can be like, oh, Leon Edwards is a star in Birmingham, England, and we need to pay more attention to this, because I feel like he's got the skill, everything, everybody knows he's a great fighter, but he just needs that star power, that sell. Like, he's not gonna sell the casual fans on a title fight right now, because people just don't know who he is, unless they're hardcore fans like myself or somebody else like that. They just don't know who he is. So he needs that one more fight, and then he can be at the top, and then it'll be undeniable. And yeah, so yeah, welterweight is fun right now. Just went through where it's at the top right now, and where I think it should be going in the future. But even beyond the very top, there's a lot of fun in the welterweight division right now, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. I know you guys are excited to see how it plays out. Colby Covington, very impressive over the weekend. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, my fellow MMA marks, and we'll be back again this week. Lots to talk about. We love MMA, and welterweight is fucking killing it right now. So let's fucking go. What more could you ask for? Let's fucking go, guys. Marks, what's good? We out.